All right, all right. Here we go. Welcome back to the Counselor's Corner. Having another show. Of course, I'm excited, so excited to be here. Also, taking a few days off for vacation, so all is good on my end. Um, so tonight's topic is gonna be called "Love on the Run." Rachel Ewing, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner tonight. Ebony Swanson, thanks for joining me. And by the way, I do not own the rights to this music. Don't let anybody know. I know I'm multi-talented, but don't let anybody know I do not own the rights to this music. So, show is going to be called Love on the Run. And right about now, we're midway through, little over midway through 2019. So of course, people start thinking about their goals, like what's their next move. And you'll see if you frequent social media a lot. Rachel said, "You're welcome." Ebony said, "Hey, David." Hey, Ebony. Derek Hall, thanks for joining me tonight. So you'll start seeing people posting goals, plans, and things of that nature because we're at the midway evaluation. So a lot of times you'll see people make comments like, "Oh, I'm getting the 2020. I'm getting the hell out of Baltimore. I am leaving Buffalo. I'm leaving Niagara Falls." I'm only naming these places because, Niagara Falls, the Buffalo area is my hometown, and I currently live in Baltimore. But you'll see people, you'll hear them saying it or you'll see it posted that they're making these goals. And sometimes people do it because they're chasing love. Love on the run. That means they might not have everything together, but if an opportunity presents itself, they're going to make moves. Oh, pardon me, people. I thought this computer was all charged up, but clearly it wasn't. It's always something. Always something. Always something. Talk about somebody not having their stuff together. Just bear with me. So you'll see people making these goals, and some people, they actually go through with it, while others, it's that same talk year after year. What's going on, Herb, Big Bad Wolf? Thanks for joining me tonight. All right. Don't mind me if I disappear. I'm just trying to get some things together. All right. I should be good now. Sorry about that. So, Keisha Hall, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So I'm going to read you the introduction, and then we're going to go, right into it. Do I got any concerns? Counselors' concerns today? Yeah, I do. Those hecklers, I know y'all going to be listening. I know that y'all going to come in with y'all same shenanigans like you did the last two times. But I'm here. You're not going to run me off, so keep on heckling. All right, so that's my only concern. I'm not going to get into free agent, basketball, and all that stuff. So my question is, would you ever relocate out of state for love? What are some of the deciding factors that you would consider before you make the move? Does it depend on the level of commitment you have with the individual, or you feel it's time for a new challenge in your life? You are a risk taker and will give it a chance. Let's discuss the scenario, Love on the Run. So here we go. Here's the scenario. Michelle has been looking for something new in her life, so she decided to join Christian.com dating site. And soon after, she met a Jamaican man from Boston who was an entrepreneur. Michelle was very reluctant to progress with Trenton, so it started off slow with daily messages back and forth until finally, after a month, she finally decided to give Trenton her phone number. Michelle was really enjoying Trenton's conversation, and started to feel very comfortable. One night when they were talking, Trenton asked Michelle would she be willing to come visit, and he would pay for her ticket. After encouragement from her coworkers, she decided to give it a shot and find her love on the run. I don't mean to laugh, but you know, what a weekend. Michelle was treated like a queen. She ate at the finest restaurants, went shopping, sightseeing, and guess what? She did not have to pay for a damn thing. Wow. Wow. You mean to tell me a guy really splurged and she didn't have to pay for anything? Oh, he sounded like a keeper. All right, let's see. Michelle never had anyone treat her this way, and she was falling deep for Trenton. Sucker. Nicole Isom, thanks for joining, and Nisi Carter Ellis, thanks for joining. She fall in love way too easy. The conversation picked up and things began to get serious to the point Michelle went back a month later and with her 4-year-old daughter, Brazil. Brazil absolutely adored Trenton, and that made Michelle feel at ease because she felt Brazil was a good judge of character. How, excuse my language, I'm going to say it anyway. How the fuck is a 4-year-old a good judge of character? That you're going to base your whole decision on a 4-year-old. You probably gave her candy, cookies, and cupcakes and shit like that. And of course she's going to like them. Ebony Ewing, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. Okay, that's just my little rant. Don't mind me, the writing is small, so I'm trying to keep up. Trenton did attempt to make a move. He did attempt to make a move on Michelle, but she stopped him dead in his tracks and told him she was not ready. Trenton was a gentleman and respected her wishes. After the last visit, Michelle and Trenton began to talk about her relocating from Rochester to Boston. He wanted her to come badly and stated he would take care of her. He's a damn fool. What actions would you take if you were Michelle? What are some potential outcomes of having a love on the run? So people, talk to me. Tell me what you would do. Shout out to Michelle Zelinsky for joining me in the Counselor's Corner and Francis Cosme for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So here you have it. You know, you have somebody was trying to make a change in their life, decided to join Christian.com, met this guy named Trenton, this Jamaican guy, you know, with the accent, probably smooth talking. They realized they had some things in common. He told her he'll, you know, send for her. You know, she gets encouragement from her coworkers. Like, go ahead, you might as well, you know, you don't got nothing else going on. You got to take a risk sometime, you know, if you want things to change. She decides to go and, he showers her. They go shopping, sightseeing. She's just living the American dream. And she'd never been treated like this before. So based on their conversation and his wooing techniques, she started falling for him. She goes back a month later and says, I'm going to bring Brazil. Now, many of you will say, a month later, that is too soon to be bringing your child around another, around a man. And, the key thing was she mentioned that her daughter was a good judge of character. So it seems to me she's one who, I don't know, maybe not have a lot of adult interaction when you start letting a 4-year-old dictate your next moves. So I think this was premature on her part, but I guess when you got that love on the run, shit, you breaking through obstacles and everything, trying to get to where you got to go. Rachel said, it's a chance you take. Yeah, it is. And sometimes you can end up being part of the freezer bag syndrome. You know what the freezer bag syndrome is, Rachel? Richie Ray, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So, but you are right. Sometimes it's a chance that you have to take. And you won't know until you tried it. But again, are you, what's the risk factors? Are you, you think about the consequences, is the risk greater than the reward and all that stuff? That's what you got to put into play. Now, taking your daughter a month later out of town, yeah, that was a risk. But, she did it. She survived. I don't think her and Trenton ended up together, but I guess that's what he was pushing for. So, I got 4 or 5 ladies on here. How many of you are willing to, connect with your love on the run? Meaning relocate, go somewhere else, pack up your stuff, and be out. So let's talk about that. Let's talk. The number to call in is 605-313-5375. The code is 669542. So some of y'all are frequent visitors, so y'all should have this number down, and y'all should be over the fear of calling in. Instead of typing, call in. Let me hear from you. Ken Hamilton, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So that, I'm going to go through a couple little talking points regarding this subject. I wonder, do guys have love on the run? Are guys willing to pack up their stuff and relocate to move in with a woman, or is it typically just the other way around, that's something a woman do? I wonder, is that a gender-based thing? Because I don't know. For me, it's so many things to consider. So I don't know if it's something I can do. But here's a couple talking points. Number one. Well, actually, I'm going to use these ones because I don't want to end up repeating myself. So I guess one of the first things you want to do is, Herb said they're scared. Yes, I considered it. Well, Herb, you're going to have to call in and you're going to have to tell us about this situation and what led you not to make that move, because you said you considered it. I wonder what was the deal breaker on why you didn't do it. So number one, I guess you want to begin discussing the long-term future with your significant other, because that's not something you do when you get a certain age, that you flip-flop between states and packing up your stuff, selling your items, putting it in storage, and then you're somewhere for 6 months, then you're back in your hometown, or you're back staying with your parents, or whatever the case is. This is something you have to make sure that you're certain about. Now, granted, we all know not everything works out. Sometimes shit just don't go your way, or it doesn't work. Everything sounded good, but then when you got there, you realize it's certain things about him, or he might feel it's certain things about you, and it's like constant bickering. So you want to have that conversation, like far as long-term goes. Jennifer, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So when you think of long-term, are you thinking like eventually, and I'm going to use a woman being in this love on the run scenario. Of course, I would say pick on women, but if Herb or someone else comes in, guys, and they have some, a testimony or something they want to share as far as that, then feel free, so we can have the man's perspective on your thought process in this. Because no matter what you think, there's someone right now pondering that decision. They're saying to themselves, I got 6 more months, and excuse my language again, I'm out of this bitch, wherever they at, wherever they living. And that's what they're thinking. And it might be a love on the run situation. And it ain't no Jay-Z and Beyonce type of thing. It's just, hey, I got to go. I want to do something different. Things ain't working for me. I'm just tired of this whole scene. So, and sometimes desperate measures lead you to do desperate things. But back to what I was saying. If it feels awkward or the talk seems too soon to start talking about marriage or long-term commitment, and you're kind of nervous about doing that and it doesn't feel right, you have your answer. Bingo. Stay your ass put. Stay put. Because if you're not comfortable having that conversation, or if you're waiting for the guy to maybe stir up that conversation, hell, he may not stir it up. He may not say anything. So in that case, you got to be comfortable with this. Like I said, in this day and age, it's just not easy to, unless you just got money like that and you got people that support you and they say, go ahead, give it a shot. You got somewhere to come to, or you got a job that said, we'll take you back. Anytime you come back, our door is always open for you. Now, how many people have situations like that they can leave a job? Unless you got some situation, you've been at a job for years and you have an opportunity to like take a leave or something, then maybe you might take a year leave or something like that and then evaluate the situation. But that's one of the first things you want to think about. Also, people, remember this. 10 o'clock, I'm out. Keeping it short, sweet. So make sure that you call in, get your stuff off. If there's something I'm saying you disagree with, feel free to chime in and call in. Number 2, and also please share the video. I say this week after week or show after show, I get 2 or 3 shares. Like I said last week, ain't nobody checking for y'all notifications or whatever the case is. Put it on silent or whatever the case is, or cut the notifications off if it gets to be too much. But work with me here now. Stephen Williams, thanks for joining me. I hope I pronounced your name right. Could be Stefan. So tell me. All right. Number 2, decide whether you're going to resent your partner if you move and the relationship doesn't work out. If there's a chance that you're going to be angry and bitter, and this is going to make you take 10 steps backwards, that's something to think about too. If you got a kind of attitude, a cavalier attitude, and you say, you know what, I gave it a shot, it didn't work, I know I can always go back home, I'm okay with it. At least I gave it a chance. But if you're going to be mad, miserable, you're going to slip into a deep depression, or maybe you're coming back to family or friends that have a lot of ridicule, and they're going to have something smart to say. I told you, yeah, she back. I knew it wasn't going to work. Her ass can't accomplish anything. Every time she starts something, and you know that you're going to be bitter, you got to think about it again. Sorry, sweetie. You're gonna have to put more thought into it. You got to think about these things. And I know I'm not, in the most part, I'm not talking to like any kids or anything, but hell, it's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds. This is life. There's no manual. You live and you learn, as they say. You make mistakes. So don't think because this stuff seems like basic stuff, don't have an attitude like, duh, like no shit, like who wouldn't think about that? And then you watch the moves people make, and you'll see like, yeah, she did leave. She did have one of them love on the run situations. Now, also what happens with love on the run situation, sometimes people is running from their past, their ex, so they want to get the hell out of Dodge because maybe that person, they still has a hold on them, or they go through a lot with them. But again, if you think Prince Charming like Trenton is going to sweep you off your feet and take all your problems away, and it doesn't work out, then you come back being bitter. Still some more thought need to be put into this decision. All right. Anybody got anything to say? Yeah, real mute today. Maybe I'm not entertaining y'all enough. Anybody want to call in with something to say? And I say this every time that I'm not going to type it in, but I'm such a nice guy. I guess somebody's in right now. Hey, how you doing?
All right.
This Sandra with the Golden Girls, the church girls?
Yeah.
Oh, where they at? Church? Hey, yeah, Sandra, how you been?
So I can be on this talk show. They won't hear me talking.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Donna Lewis, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So, Sandra, tell me about this Love on the Run thing. What would you do as far as this?
As far as uprooting myself from my home?
Yes.
Going to another city or state I would try it, but I would always be able to return back home or go somewhere else if I didn't want to come back home.
Okay. So if you came back home, as far as your job situation, would that be a hardship, or, how much money would you, I ain't trying to be in your finances, but how much money would you take with you, like, as far as if you were going to make a move like that? Like, what's a goal that you want to have in mind?
Well, I would definitely take enough to be able to get back home if I had to. And I probably would also maintain my home here for a minute.
Okay.
Before I rent it out or something.
All right. So you saying you would keep it like vacant?
No. Yeah. It'd be vacant with my stuff still in it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I wouldn't just up and move like that without knowing that it's going to be okay. Not permanent. But if we would get together and it work out, then I would make some changes. But other than that, I would have to it would have to be some time given.
Okay. So somebody just joined us?
Of course, it's the wolf.
What's going on, wolf. Big bad wolf?
Okay, I forgot who the wolf was.
All right, so Herbert, what's your take on the situation?
Well, about 11, maybe 12 years ago, somewhere around there. I was actually involved with people. We were in a long-distance relationship, and I had actually considered moving. The only problem was things for me at that particular point in time weren't conducive for me to move. I didn't have a job, and I didn't have the job prospects set up there.
I can't hardly hear you, Herbert.
Yeah, you sounding a little muffled.
I hear you better now.
Go ahead.
I'm on the phone. I'm not sure what to say, but I had no job prospects up there, and I'm not the type of man that's going to live in dependency on somebody else, particularly another woman. Whether her and I are on those type of terms.
Okay.
So if you were, can I ask a question, David?
Oh, of course.
So if you were with a woman and you come into a job crisis where you lose your job or laid off or something like that, your woman couldn't help you maintain until you could?
Are you asking me if I'm living with her or I have to travel to move with her?
Oh, it's to establish the move.
No. I've been in that situation twice before. I am of the mindset that a man should always have some type of savings set aside. So if something befalls him, he can be relying upon himself. But that doesn't mean that he can't have somebody assist him. I think the mark of any man, and this is just my personal opinion, I think the mark of any man to be able to financially weather a storm speaks about his planning and his ability to deal with those type of crises, because whether it's unemployment or medical, we all have situations that would befall us sometime in our life that we can't earn what we're earning now. So I would have no problem. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Both men and women should have a savings.
Well, yes, I was just making it relevant toward myself. So when I was speaking of men, I wasn't trying to exclude women.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was just making it relevant to myself. But yeah, like I said, I've been in that situation, but the reason why I didn't was because I was unwilling to put myself in a situation to where I had to be reliant on a woman. Now that female and I, we are no longer together, but her and I are still on very good terms. And as a matter of fact, if I wanted to do something with her in terms of a long-term relationship or commitment, she would be on board.
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Herb, but let me get these shout out. Shout out to Raj for joining me, and shout out for Trevor. Thanks for joining me tonight. So Herbert, you have a place, you established, and you have this woman that you're, head over heels with, and she has she's traveling or relocating to move in with you. How long would you sponsor her or take care of her before you think, would say, okay, you need to start contributing, what's up with the job thing? How long would you give her? Like if y'all were talking planning, how long would you give her to get on her feet?
Okay, I have to ask just to get some clarification. Does she have a job prospect lined up?
Well, she got some interviews lined up, but that ain't, that's just what it is, an interview.
Okay, now I'm because this is your scenario, I'm going to ask you some questions so I can give a better answer.
Okay.
Will this individual and I be moving towards a long-term goal or commitment?
I guess ultimately that's the game plan. At least that's what you told her.
She would have no time frame.
She would have no time frame?
No.
What do you mean?
If she's coming to move with me and I've committed to her, that's the important thing. I've committed to her and us as a long-term couple, then I'm not placing no time frame upon her because I'm not expecting her to contribute to the household finances, because clearly I myself can maintain the home without her financial contribution. Mm-hmm. So if she's coming and her and I are establishing a relationship to where we can move together, then yes, she has no time frame.
Oh, okay. So you're saying you got her back for however long it takes?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So David, what about you?
You don't want to ask me that. That's why I call myself the controversial counselor. What'd you say?
We want to know your answer.
My answer?
Well, you generally don't inquire about the host and what the host does. The host is there to set the table. I'm just saying that's your etiquette.
I mean, no, on the show. No, she didn't say because I am going to answer it. He didn't say me. Okay. I'm going to answer it. I mean, I think overall, of course, I would have her back, but I know how the story would end if she's not. Sometimes people get comfortable and like, hey, he said I got as long as I want to, and I would hope it would be some progression being made. Because I know what happens. Me, I'm a worker. So if I have the opportunity to work 2 jobs, even if you're not there, that's something I'm going to do. And I don't want to hear down the road, well, damn, I'm down here, but I barely ever see you Saturday or Sunday throughout the week.
Yeah, you got to make. I'm with you there. You got to make something happen, because you can't become an added liability, because if I don't think you're progressing, then we're gonna have to sit down and have that chat. There's gonna be Theodore, not Theodore Roosevelt. It's gonna be Franklin D. Roosevelt. We having a fireside chat. Something gotta happen. You gotta start collecting bottles of cans, or you gotta start cleaning homes. You got to bring something in because you eat.
for me, I wouldn't want to not have my own money anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel comfortable.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like, okay, if I want to go get something, I gotta ask every time to go get it. Can I?
You have some people.
Go get it.
You have some people who are comfortable with that type of living, so long as their basic needs are being met, they wouldn't care.
I mean, as far a woman needs and wants things, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the things that we need and want, men think is stupid or we don't need, or whatever.
I wouldn't classify it as stupid. What I would classify it as saying a non-basic need. Like, women like to go shopping. I think most of us agree. If you look at the average woman's closet, she has clothes in there that she may wear once and she doesn't wear. Now that's not it's not a slight towards women. That's what women do. If you look at some of the expenditures that men engage in, you'll see a lot of men with sneakers and things like that. They don't wear. I have a closet full of dress clothes that I haven't worn, but I'm buying them so when I get to a point in my life where I want to wear them, I can. But mind you, I buy on average maybe 1-2 suits a year and a few pair of dress pants.
And over the years, you got a big closet full of clothes.
Yes, I have. The way my home is set up, I have several closets that are full. I have Timberlands that I haven't worn. But mind you, I've accumulated those over the years. So it's not something I went out and bought all at one shot.
Well, yeah.
So, but you have women who will go out and spend $200 or $300 a month.
All right, and I'm obsessive like that with clothes that I haven't, don't even wear. I haven't worn. And gotta have something else. You're right about that. And shoes and purses. So all of that is just like I got a whole room that I need to have done into a closet.
Let me add a piece to that. But let me give a shout out. Elsie Williams, thanks for joining. John Simone, thanks for joining me tonight. I understand with Chandra saying as far as wanting your own. It reminds me of when you're younger and you're with your boys and you say, man, I'm broke. And they say, no, I got you. We're going out, man. We got to go to this party. We got to go. And you're like, man, my money's not right. Man, I got you. But then you get there and all of a sudden now they got you, but they're babysitting their drinks and you then finish one and you went ready for the next one, but you got to go up and like, hey, man, my bottle empty, whatever. Like that is the worst feeling. That's the worst feeling to have to depend on someone. And it seemed like sometimes when that case happened, when that situation happens, it's like it's done on purpose, like it's a stall game or something like, and it may feel like that in a relationship where you're like, well, damn, I knew she or he knew. I said I wanted to pick up this item. Why is it taking them 2 or 3 days to give me that money, whatever? That is just a feeling that you don't want to have. Right. That's just my take.
So let me ask y'all men this. What if a woman was to come and stay with y'all and y'all got the potential of working on it being a relationship? Now, do you share in all the housework, the cooking, and things like that, or is that totally on her? Plus,
I'm funny about my domicile because I am of the opinion that nobody can clean my place like I do. I'm anal. Okay, so I'm gonna show her how I want my place done and what's expected. Now, this is the caveat with me. I don't have any children, so anything other than the kitchen and the bathroom, everything else will pretty much remain clean. I don't want to come in and see sneakers and shoes in places where they're not supposed to. Take them off when you come in the house. When you're done showering, put the towels in the appropriate place. So all that stuff should be put back where you got it from originally when you're done with it. Not 15 minutes later. Not I'm running late. Get your ass up. Do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. I said I'm anal. Yeah. When I leave my house to go to work, the only thing that same. I can leave this house for months straight and come back, it's going to pretty much look the same way. So when I say I'm anal, I'm anal. I make no bones about it. That's how that's how I govern my life. That's how I run my home. So anybody that comes in there, into my circle, and especially into my home, you're going to have to adhere to it. You're going to have to get the steps in.
Now, Herbert, so I know you're a stand-up type of guy, so I'm sure this conversation has already happened before she came, that she knows Absolutely. This is how you, okay. I mean, because in some situations, a guy just thinking, like, if I get her down there now, I got some living type of thing going on. Then all of a sudden he might spring this on. Damn, your shoes. I don't like when you leave your towels right here. Why did you leave this or that? And then that creates a problem or making somebody feel like shit. So
yeah, when it's constant.
I think I believe you covered this on other show topics. Is you have to let people know where you stand and what's expected. I think a lot of people, particularly guys, they will try and deceive women into something that isn't the full spectrum of the expectations. Now, I would be the first to say there's unmet expectations, and people, whether you're male or female, set themselves up for that by not saying what they want up front, even if it's just sex. Because you've covered this before. A lot of men have the misconception that women want to engage in a non-monogamous sexual relationship or a short-term monogamous sexual relationship. And I'm of the opinion that, look, if I just want to hop in the bed with you for a quickie, I'm going to tell you, look, I just want to feel you. I just want to feel you for a short time. And then you can go and be about your business.
Mm-hmm. That's so. I don't know if I would ever do it there.
No. I understand. Usually, there are women who do. Not women, there are women who do.
Understood. You know if you want something long term or not with somebody. I mean, I think that's understood because, or if feelings come after that may change things once you start sleeping with somebody. But
yes, that happens.
I don't think when we meet somebody, we may say, oh yeah, he seemed to be a good candidate for a long-term relationship. But today, listen, if it happened, it happened. But I'm not going out like seeking somebody permanency because I gotta know who you are first. I gotta know what you do, what you like, how if we have a misunderstanding, how you gonna handle that,
And I don't.
You know, some people who are concerned about those things. There, some people.
And how you live, because if I'm not living in my house the way up to your standards, don't think I'm gonna come to your house and live up to your standards. You know what I mean? Like I'm just dealing specifically with just the sexual encounter, not necessarily anything else. Because right. What you're saying is correct. And about the clean house thing too, because
well, you had some people, whether male or female, they'll come into a person's house and be like, yo, this house is dirty, but you know what? I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. So they get in, get out, and they get on with life.
Right. But if it comes to you wanting more and you both working at that, you gotta look at how this person is living. If this person is living with shoes all over the place and crap everywhere, and most likely that's how they're gonna live in your house too if y'all together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, because right now, at this age of the game, we're who we are.
Right.
And it ain't going to be too much changing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not living the same way you living, like with a very neat, clean, everything got its place, tight place, then don't think that he going to come here and live the way I'm living, or I'm going to go there and live the way he living. You know what I'm saying?
So let me chime in with this. This kind of take me to this point, but I want to give a couple shout outs. Nisi Living Single, thanks for tuning in tonight, and Eric McCracken. What's going on, E? Thanks for joining me tonight.
Hi, everybody.
Now, Herbert, you know, again, you set your standards and how you are. You said, you know, you can go months or years and, you know, everything will be in place. So now, and I'm not picking on you, Herb. I'm just throwing these situations out.
That's okay. I'm a big boy.
So now you got this woman that came in and, you know, your house is tidy, but she's not feeling like, I think he needs some new curtains or whatever the case is. You at work, she didn't change that around, rearrange the furniture and all that stuff. How are you going to respond? Because she might say, if she's not working, she might say, well, I was bored, so I had a few dollars, so I didn't like that color scheme you had, so I went out and got these curtains, and I think if your couch was kitty cornered this way, what are you going to say, Herb?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. She's going to say something.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's your shit, right?
No. She's going to say something. It's going to be a 3-letter word.
What?
Why? You don't come in changing how I get down, how I live because you're bored.
But that's you moved her into your home too, though.
Say that again. And when you say it, pay attention to that pronoun.
I said you moved her into your home too.
Correct. It's my home. You don't do anything in my home without my permission.
That brings us to another situation. Because if you bringing her in and saying this is your home, then she should have.
Slow your roll. If I bring the woman into my home, it's still my home. Now, if we go out,
we'll hurt.
Now, if we go out and we buy a home, she has free reign.
So that would be
We're
the
not
first
married.
thing y'all have to do.
Say it again.
That would be the first thing y'all have to do. Is to get a home together.
That's who?
Huh?
That's who?
Whoever she is.
No. You're saying that's the first thing that y'all have to do. No, I don't have to do anything to say black or die.
But like you said, you have your standards, but you move. She's coming from out of state, and she has a lot of ample time on her hands. Like David said, she got a few dollars. She was bored. She thought she might make you feel, you know, surprise you and do something nice.
She's surprised. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And because it's your home, she don't have that right.
Correct.
So how do you think that's going to make her feel, though?
I'm not concerned about that because it's my home. Right? And this is the premise. If she had enough money to where her and I could go and buy a home together, that's a different story. If I'm inviting you into my home, you don't have the right nor the authority to change my home. That's like you change her wardrobe without her permission.
So what if she come to you and say, Herb, I want to see if I can rearrange the furniture and redo the living room?
We have to see what she's talking about.
See, let me chime in, but let me give a shout out. Hey Don, thanks for joining me tonight. Don said he didn't say he is a hard cookie to crumble. Now, this is why one of the reasons why growing up, you know, I'm always going to use parallels and stuff, try to make connections. It's always hard to go stay the night at someone's house unless you're comfortable there. Because if you're at someone's house and they're like, you can't go in the refrigerator, you can't get this or that, you got to ask, you got to do that. That always made me feel like I'm not going over there. I always had to be at a place that I was comfortable with. So I guess with her, what you're saying, you're being kind of stringent on your ways. That she's gonna be like walking on eggshells.
No. What we're talking about is changing the physical appearance of my place. My place is set up for what I like. This is like honestly, This is why everybody doesn't get to come over to my place, because the last thing I want to hear about is somebody talking about my interior decorating choice.
Well, that doesn't mean that it's not good.
No. See, this is the thing that people don't realize. How often through the lifetime of a person's house do they remodel?
I think with guys, hey, unless the furniture is busted and it's holes and stuff like that, they may keep the same thing. Women like to change up stuff every couple years or whatever the case is.
So now you're talking about money that's being spent because she doesn't like the way something looks, not because it isn't functional. Women and men think on different terms. Men are functional. If it works, leave it alone. Women, nah, you know, this is like this 2 years ago, I want to change. Okay, why do you want to change just for the sake of change? And this goes back to the whole shopping thing. Women do things on impulse often. Not because something is broken, but because they don't like something. You know, 2 years ago, that was the fastest. Now I'm doing it. I'll put it to you, I'll make this real simple. The way women get their nails done. 2 years ago, you weren't seeing women with the ring finger painted differently. Now you are. Why is that? Just go and get a fresh manicure, French tip, and be done. Can't do that. That's too simple. I got to keep up with the next person, and the next person, and the next person. Next thing you know, you spend the money needlessly because you're trying to maintain an image, as opposed to just trying to live. Men, for the most part, they're not trying to maintain that type of image in their home. Now, you can talk about men going out and buying sports cars and getting in the midlife crisis, and you know, I wouldn't even stand any way of that other discussion. But for the most part, a man in his home, what he decorates, is pretty much set.
Well, I know, hold on, I got a couple. Nicole says, so basically, Herb, it's your way or the highway.
Right.
Kay Darnell, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So I know, and I understand what Herb is saying, but I think when it's a situation like that and someone's coming and your plans is to be with this person, it's a lot to think about and to plan to make sure, because I guess you want this person to come in being the best person they can be, and you got to find ways to make them feel comfortable. So I think in a certain case, I would say for myself, and you know, Herb, you're your own man, but I would find a way to kind of compromise. So, I mean, because it ain't gonna make me no difference, make me none. I mean, if she went out and got some different curtains, and you know, I valued her taste or whatever, I'm gonna roll with it. If it's gonna put a smile on her face and make her feel a little more comfortable, because the last thing I want to walk into is a situation with somebody looking like a mad ball every time I come in a house, or looking sad, and that energy is passed on to me. So I'm going to try to find ways to make that person feel comfortable. Hey, Anitra, how you doing?
Likely they doing it for trying to help you feel good too. You know. Now, Sandra, I'm gonna break it down for you. That's the guy that women try and slide underneath men's feet. No, that's the truth, though.
Hold on.
A real woman is gonna try.
Hold on. That's the guys that women try to slide under men's feet, so men don't question it. So the question becomes, what's the next thing that she's going to try and change about you or your home?
Well, you're gonna try to change things about her too.
No, I don't get with a woman hoping to change her.
But
absolutely not.
Because you're not letting her be a woman, first of all, when she feels like she wants to redecorate some stuff to try to be pleasing to you.
Okay, so see, this is what you're missing. I was pleased with the way my home was before she got there. She doesn't need to do anything. That's what I'm talking about. See, women go out of their way to do things they don't need to do. You want to please me? Hold on, I'll put it like this. You want to please me? Like you say, Dave, get in the kitchen, start playing them pots and pans. That pleases me. You want to please me? Leave me alone on Sunday so I can watch football. I'll be grateful to you.
And in the bed and in the kitchen.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. You have to remember that I am a self-sustained man. I don't need a woman for anything outside of that.
Other than that. Oh, so then why does she have to work? She working for you.
Hold on, wait a minute. When did I ever say she had to work?
You said it.
At some point in time, she has to pull her weight. I remember, I'm the one who said she has an indefinite amount of time.
Right, you did. That's what you said.
Okay, so you can't hold my feet to that fire. I walk in that fire and dance in it.
Well, okay, I got you.
All right, Herb.
So all you need is a woman that's going to take care of your food, make sure you fed, and make sure your house is. No. I don't need her. I don't need her for that. I'm saying if she wants to make me happy, that's what she can do. No.
Y'all funny.
We're talking about the premise of a woman making me happy. You don't make me. See, that makes women happy, and women think what makes them happy makes men happy, and we're not the same.
I know you're not the same.
Okay, so on that premise, if my home is the way it is when you come here, take note and just say, okay, you know what? This is what he likes. This is how I'm going to maintain it. I will love her indefinitely. You know why? Because she's not trying to change anything. Women are always trying to change something about a man as opposed to accepting that man for what he is. If he's hardworking, he keeps a clean house, he keeps the bills paid, he treats you well, reading you. You found the gem. Why try and cut that diamond and make it something that it isn't? They did that to the crown jewels, and they end up losing their luster. Women will try and change a man till that man becomes something that he wasn't when she first met him. This you'll say, you've changed. Well, geez, I wonder why. You came in, you changed his curtains. Okay, the curtains don't match the couch, so now we got to get new couches. and new curtains. Okay, now the carpet doesn't match, so now we got to go out and get new carpet. He walked into his home like, damn, when did this happen?
Okay,
now we got to go work on the bedroom. We got to paint the bedroom. Next thing you know, the place is now recognizable from what it was 3 years ago before she came in. He was cool.
So I have some comments, Herbert. But first, I want to say shout out. Thanks, Katrina. Docent Mills for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Anitra said, I don't want to be on no raggedy ass furniture. Nicole Isom says, so Herb, I guess you're going to dress her also. And then Anitra says, so Herb, what are you saying?
Well, Nicole, to your question, I will accentuate her wardrobe. So if I see something, hold on. So if I see something that I like, I will ask her if she is okay with this. I will not go out and do it first. I will ask her permission.
You wouldn't come home one day with a nice little red dress that you like for her.
I will have already asked her about it. I don't spend money like that. So if I'm going to buy somebody something, they're going to have already given me the approval.
So you don't do nothing.
These are the conversations.
Nothing, huh?
I'm sorry, say that again?
No surprises or nothing, huh?
It will be a surprise because she won't know when it's coming. I've done what I'm telling you, I've already done. And it's proven beneficial. So why would I reinvent the wheel?
Okay.
Woo!
Women are trying to always reinvent something as opposed to going with what works. Men don't do that. Hey, look, if it works this time, why doesn't it work the next time? Now, granted, I understand that everybody isn't the same, so this is why I vet women that I deal with. I vet them thoroughly, so when she gets to that next step, certain criteria have already been established. There is no guessing. There is no, so I've already crossed some bridges. I've already nailed them doors closed. I've already did this. I've already secured that. I know who I'm dealing with because I've already had those discussions and those conversations. This is what dating is about. I don't know what people do when they date, but I know what I do. I get down to brass tacks. I'm trying to figure out what you like, what you dislike, what you do, where you come from, why you do the things you do, your likes, your dislikes, what sets you off. I'm doing all of that. Because the moment I engage the female, I'm already psychoanalyzing the situation and seeing if we gonna work out. And I'm gonna know within the first 10 to 15 minutes whether we gonna click or not. Now, I may still engage her in conversation, but we're not going beyond that.
So you know, in the first 15 minutes of your conversation, whether you can go further than that.
Correct. I'm going to ask you quick questions.
Okay.
Wow. So people, you know, I said I'm going to be a stickler on my time. We got like 3 minutes left. So even with this dialogue, as you can see, the things that needs to be worked out when you have a person like Herb saying, you know, his shit is set. There's no wiggle room. Nothing needs to be changed. He's content where he's at. But then you may have some other guys that may be a little lenient. So, but these are the things that you have to find out. And like Herb said, in the conversation beforehand. So it won't be any surprises. That due process has already been given. You already knew that this is the way it was going to be when you got here. Don't act surprised now. Or be on the phone saying, oh, he's a jackass or this or that. He yelled at me because I opened up another bar of soap and the other one was half, you know, stuff like that. You already have been told.
Let me jump in real quick because Anita's asking a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Anita, you will be able to find out whether I write love letters or not when I start penning my book. Buy it. And to answer your other two questions, yes is my way of the highway. There is no negotiating when it comes. Go ahead, Sandra.
Is that the name of the book?
Hey, that might be a title to think about.
You know what? In about 3 years, once I get situated, because I have like literally, I have envelopes full of things that I need to complete. And by the time I'm done, I'll probably be able to come out with at least 2 or 3 books. Some of them will be poems of my feelings for certain things and maybe certain individuals. I write about a lot of things. I write about nature. I write about situations. Trust me, when I put this together. Go ahead.
No, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I write about a lot of things. I'm that type of individual, but I keep it close to the vest. I've shared some of my stuff with certain people that I trust, certain people I know that aren't going to leak certain things. And I have another place where I have posted some things to Facebook under a pseudonym that I would have no problem sharing. If anybody listening wants to see a piece of what I wrote, send me a friend's request on Herb Lewis, and I'll be more than happy to share them with you. I have no problem doing that.
Okay. Well, Herb, you know I'm coming.
Hey, bring the army with you. Make sure they weaponize. Because I'm a dead shot.
You what?
I said, bring your army with you. Make sure they weaponize because I'm a dead shot.
No army.
Okay, all right.
So,
I'm the army.
So gang, I'm gonna get ready to log off. I see Arthur. What's going on, Arthur? Thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it to that hour minimum, maybe a few minutes over, but not those long hour and a half, hour 45-minute shows. Nicole said, Herb, you must like catalog brides. No, I'm just messing with you. Herb, you ain't gonna respond. You can respond in the thread. I'm gonna close it out. But this is something to think about when you're thinking about that love on the run. The final point is this person worth sacrificing your life you have now? You probably need to develop a list, pros and cons, to see if you have genuine conversation, then you should be able to develop that list of your pros and cons, or why you want to make that move, why you shouldn't make that move. And then I always talk about this. Then simply ask yourself the miracle question. Is your life better with that person or without them? If you feel like, oh man, they're your world, you do better, you're more motivated, you're happy, and you need them in your life, then hey, you might decide to make that move. But if you like, based on what they're saying, I know this is going to be a tough one, but I already been told all my family I'm moving March, such and such. Soon as I get my income tax, I'm out of here. Then you have to think about something else. So you just have to think. This is not, the title of the show is Love on the Run, but sometimes you have to stop while you're running. Sometimes you got to stop, take a breather, and figure out your next move. With that said, I'm out. Thank you, Herbert. Thank you, Sandra, for coming in with that active dialogue, going back and forth. I loved it. It gives you a lot to think about and a lot of basic little questions that sometimes may not be answered or people don't see how it really works. But you know, everybody thinks everything is all good until you actually get somewhere and you're like, damn, it's completely different. So that's why I say, think before you decide to make those moves. Nicole said good night. So again, with that said, I'm out. Everybody have a safe, productive, peaceful 4th of July. No gun clappers, no gun clappers. Don't no shooting, trying to confuse people like, oh, that might be an M80 or whatever. Keep it safe, people, and make sure you're around positive people, and because you know what the 4th brings: drinking, food, a lot of nonsense. So people, just be safe. That's all I say. And I'll talk to you after the holidays. We'll be back with another segment of the Counselor's Corner. So again, I'm out. Thank you all. All right, good people. Peace.